This is Sunday Focus, a weekly public affairs program that looks at the topics affecting our society and the people who are making a change in the community each and every day. The people who have vision for the next generation. Sunday Focus presents new challenges for us, keeping you informed with topics of local and regional interest. Now the host of Sunday Focus, Christine Manica.
Good morning. Coming up on the program today, I'll sit down with coach and elite athlete here in Sioux Falls, Benson Lang'at. Now, if you're from the Sioux Falls area or from Sioux Falls itself, you probably have heard of the name Benson Lang'at at least once. Not only is he a coach with the 605 Running Company, but he is also an elite athlete in the running department. In other words, this guy is so good and he's crazy fast. Benson joins me on the program to tell his story, how he came to the state of South Dakota, his goals, and his coaching style when he is with his athletes. I'll give you an idea how fast Benson is. When he goes on long distance runs, his goal is to aim for 5-minute miles, at least 5:05. Nothing more, nothing less. Plus, he's competed in over 60 races, including the recent Boston Virtual Marathon. Benson Lang'at considers Sioux Falls his second home, and truly the running community and just the sports community in general has really embraced this elite athlete. His goals are soaring high in this city, that's for sure. All that and more coming up on Sunday Focus.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes. Hey bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sunday Focus. I'm being joined in the studio by someone I think everyone is pretty familiar with around the Sioux Empire. He is a coach and an elite athlete. I'm talking about Benson Lang'at. Hey, Benson, welcome.
Thank you.
I gotta say, it's great to have you in the studio. You literally have an incredible and interesting story about you. But before we get into all that, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Kenya, a small town in the southern part of Kenya. Was born and raised there. Came to the United States a few years ago in 2009, and came to school down in Kansas and then USD, and I'm in Sioux Falls now.
Why South Dakota? I mean, what was that thought process for you?
I blame my coaches at USD. Coach Fitzsimmons, when he recruited me, he asked me to come for a college visit, and I liked Vermilion. And so ever since then, I stayed. And after I graduated with my bachelor's, I moved to Sioux Falls and liked Sioux Falls, so I stayed here for a little bit, went back to school, still staying here, so yeah.
So you've liked it enough to stick around?
I think it's been my second home.
Oh, well, that's awesome to hear that. How did you get into running? Who really inspired you?
So how I got running is an interesting story. I was not a runner in high school. I played rugby. Rugby was my biggest sport. And so that was a big sport for me. I played real football, which is, soccer. So I also play what we call handball. It's not common in the United States, but that is something that I did that well in high school. And then after high school, then I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. So where I come from, running is a job for a lot of people, and for me, I was waiting to join college, and so I decided. I saw some runners doing it, and I wanted, to use running as a weight loss, and I got approached by a coach, and he said, "Hey, I've seen you working out. I'd like you to join my club." And since then, I joined this club, and he got me to where I am today.
So you basically, if I'm getting this right, you basically walked on in college, not really having any sort of competitive experience when it comes to running.
So when I got recruited out of Kenya, it was through a track and cross country scholarship. But I took a 1 year off from high school before joining college to focus on running. And that's how I got better. And I was recruited to a junior college in Kansas, Butler Community College. Coach Becker recruited me. I worked with Coach Becker. He wanted to recruit me he was coaching at New Mexico at that time. But he recruited, Coach Hunter recruited me, and then I ended up working with, when Coach Hunter moved to Wichita State, Coach Becker became my coach at that time. So that's who actually recruited me, and it was just to come to the United States to run track and cross country. And then it was a 2-year program. So then after that, I moved to South Dakota, worked with Coach Fitzsimmons at USD.
Was it tough when you first started running? My fun little story for you. I was in grade school when I first started running with my track team. So 5th grade, my Coach Amanda Gregish, she went up to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to put you in the 800. And for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's 2 laps around the track." And I thought it was kind of a death sentence for me, saying, "You're going to have me do what? No way." First time I did it, I cried. I straight up cried. And I said, "I'm never doing it again." She didn't give up on me, and she said a few weeks later, "I'm putting you back in that 800. And I'm just like, why are you doing this to me? You already saw what happened the first time around. She's like, no, you can do it. Sure enough, I came in 3rd that week of the race. So I was kind of proud of myself at that point, and I stuck with it since. So is that kind of a similar story for you?
So for me, well, growing up where I grew up, you just don't run just for fun.
Yeah.
It's either you're good or not good. So for me, I started running a 400, and I was actually tied to loss at that time. And I beat someone I knew, so I knew I was getting better. And so the 400 I ran, and I qualified to the semifinals, which was, that's why I did okay. But then that's when my coach saw me, and he said, "I'd really like you to train for the 800. And then that is where really I started focusing on more running, but I had to quit multiple times. I think I quit more than 7 times because it was hard, because I was competing with people who were really good, and so, but at that time, it was hard to start. So for me, it was the 800 that really took off for me and became one of my favorite races. But over time, it took a lot of quitting and getting back to it. Oh,
I can understand that. Yeah, a lot of tears too, probably.
Yeah, and a lot of my coach came to my house and said, "Hey, I think you should come back." And I said, "Okay," but it's tough. I almost threw up during practice one time.
So you came to South Dakota, Vermilion, for USD. You probably had other options to go to school after being in Kansas for 2 years. So why South Dakota? Was it just the coaches that drew you in, or just the atmosphere in general?
I came in. I came. The first place I met the coaches at the Dome, and I looked at the facility, and I'm like, wow, this would be perfect for indoor running. And then I met a team, and that's when I felt at home. I felt welcome. And I left. I went back knowing that I was going to sign with USD. I had other offers too, but at that time I knew Coach Fitzsimmons and Gatslaben, they welcome you. And I said, this is a place I want to be. And it reminded me of home somehow, because a lot of farms and stuff like that. Small town experience. It became one of my favorite, one of the greatest decisions I made was to go to school in Vermilion. Did
you get used to running in these extreme Midwest conditions? Because the skedaddle, for example, that recently happened, if that didn't make it apparent for you, I don't know what will, because it was literally all 4 seasons in one day.
Living in the Midwest, I always tell my athletes and friends, if you live in the Midwest, especially South Dakota, it makes you one of the strongest athletes that I know, because if you can brave these conditions, you can do anything else. My first experience running in the cold was in Nebraska. It was very windy. I saw the wind was on my back when I was out running. I thought, no, this is a great run. But when I turned around, I wasn't dressed well for the weather, and so it really, it really hit me that I almost quit at that time too. But really I've learned to adapt to the environment. I'm someone who can adapt quickly to the environment. So skedaddle that happened, like I was on a bike actually, and my hands froze because I wished I was running, but but over time though, you get used to something. And so living in Sioux Falls, as it's a great place to live, great place to train, and the people here.
Test your endurance, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
being in South Dakota now for a little bit and Sioux Falls, what do you like what's your favorite part about Sioux Falls and just South Dakota in general? You already said it reminded you of the family aspect of things.
The community, the Sioux Falls community has been great for me, and that's reason why I call this place home, because the running community here has been one of the greatest things. And so that alone, and the hospitality, I have friends who come to visit and say, hey, people here are very nice, and then it's just the same thing, that I found the hospitality here being great. So the community and the hospitality, people are great here. So that's the reason why I've liked living in Sioux Falls.
Did you ever think you would end up in South Dakota?
Never.
Out of any state in this country?
I had not heard of South Dakota before I came to the United States, and I came and I'm like, I thought it was part of Canada or something. And so, but when I heard, I was looking up schools, and, I was like, South Dakota, where is that? And so, again, I never thought I would. I thought about and maybe ending up in California, Kansas, or other places, but not South Dakota. But no, here I am. So,
if you are just joining us, I am in the studio with coach and elite athlete Benson Lang'at. Now, let's get into the thick of your running career. This could be a tough question. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
How many races have you competed in between 5, 10Ks, half, and full marathons?
I counted all my medals, and and some races I never got medals. But outside just college athletics, I have competed in almost 59 races.
What? So
that's
and that's just from the medals that you counted.
Yeah, but there's some other thing. I believe there's more than 60 some races, but I think really I know a lot of people in the community who have done more than that. But for me, I target some specific races because, I gotta.
Because you're fast, you're just good. You could say it. You're just that good.
No, I'm a runner, so I there's some races that I specifically target. So.
What's the furthest race you've ever ran?
Marathon.
Just the marathon?
Only 26.2, not 26.3.
Oh, only 26.2. What's probably your favorite marathon that you've done?
Last year I did the virtual Boston Marathon here in Sioux Falls, and that was my favorite. I mean, it was the community and myself running, and my friend Matt who ran, who did it too. But it was special in a way that everybody was here. People that I was running into on the bike path, I knew most of them, and so that was a great race that I really did enjoy. But otherwise, Houston is one of my favorite races that I've raced. I had a great experience, and so depending on specifics, the half marathon will be Houston. The marathon will be the Boston Virtual Marathon.
Now, I already know this answer. What place did you come in the virtual Boston run?
17th.
Yeah, so basically that means he is the 17th best runner in the country, which is crazy. So what was your time for that race or any other races that you've done?
It was 2 hours and 34 minutes for the specific race.
And if anyone doesn't know that, that's crazy fast.
So it was a great experience, and it was almost a solo race. So didn't get quite the experience, but really that gave me a lot to look forward for. A lot to look forward to in my running career.
Run down your split times for me. For anyone that doesn't know what split times is, it's basically your pace. How much time does it take you to run a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, anything like that?
So depending on the race. If I'm running a 5K, I'd try to average less than 5-minute mile for 5K. But when I'm doing a marathon, my goal is to end up running almost a 5-minute, 5-second pace, 5:05 for the entire marathon. That's my goal.
That is very specific.
So around the range is where I'd like to hit. But right now, I'm still working on it. That's why you got to practice every day.
Absolutely.
You got to practice every day. So,
do you consider yourself, and I know you probably don't because you're so modest, the fastest man, possibly person in the Sioux Falls area?
A lot of people have said that, but depends with the distance.
Depends with the distance?
There's some fastest milers that I can beat, but I think some people have told me, yeah, I could. I'm not sure, but based on the data and everything, I believe I am, but there might be someone out there. So.
You're the fastest person I think I've probably ever met. Have you ever thought about doing maybe Ironman races or even triathlons?
So when I did an episode with Midco in 2014, 2016, I talked about it. I talked about my first Ironman race that I would do would be in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so that's something that I am still working on because I got to get the swimming. I can float, So that's where the problem is. But I'm taking care of the biking and the running, but I got to get the swimming done.
See, us runners, we don't like biking that much. Now, my twin sister, she loves biking.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. She makes it too much of a race. And I say, you know what? I'd rather run at this point than sit on a bike. Now, how did you start to get involved with the racing community in Sioux Falls? I believe that's through your coaching with the 605 Running Company, correct?
So, actually, my coaching began with 605 Running Company, but I became part of the community by joining the 605 running groups that they had for,
Okay.
And then I ended up working at the shop. So the community, I became closer to the community that way. My coach was actually the founder of the 605 coaching. So, and then when he left that for me and 2 other coaches that I'm working with right now. But the big thing is through the shop, through 605 Running Company. That's how I connected to the community and even the state.
In the state, yeah. How do you, what is your role for other runners in the Sioux Empire?
So my role is, my biggest role is, I'm basically the cheerleader kind of. So I would say that. But in the aspect, I'm also Roadrunners Club of America state representative for the state of South Dakota. So what I do is I try to promote running through Roadrunners Club of America by hearing what issues runners are having in the state. For example, South Dakota, Sioux Falls has one of the best bike trail systems in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
And so by hearing other people talk about that, some areas, security and things like that, I help in that aspect. But really my biggest thing is I'm just a friend. I'm just a friend to other runners in the community.
I like that in a coach. I've had lots of coaches in my life, and that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that I'm their friend. I'm with them through this. So when it comes to these athletes, how do you start to train someone if, let's say, they're a beginner runner or elites?
One of the big thing is, personally, is understand the person. If I understand you, then I know exactly how to work with you. So that's the first step is I build a relationship and then I get you comfortable and then I look at what your goals and then I ask you, how do we want to reach these goals? So it will require sacrifice, will require a set time. And so all those areas I look at it and then I build the training based on your goals. And then I am there again with you. I'm walking the journey with you. Don't forget, you're doing 95% of the work. I'm doing the 5%, but I'm just right there. It's just so you're running on the side, I'm driving on the side. So I'm just all those areas is I'm right there with you. And so most of my athletes have kind of gone through that process of building the relationship, and then we work on different areas of what your goals are, and I help you get there.
Have you ever ran with your athletes? I know one of my coaches, she would always run with us, especially for those long runs.
Some of my athletes I have, sometimes I run into them on the bike path. Some of them I do. Some of them who live out of state and different times of the day. I mean, I'm not able to, but if I were to run with, I wish I could run with all my athletes, but I have with some of them.
What is the best part about coaching? You know, what do you really like about it?
You know, it's really seeing an athlete accomplish their goal. It's really the process of it. You're seeing the athlete put in the work. I was telling my athletes, the reason to why I'm a better runner is because of a lot of people in the community, and mostly my athletes who I see every day. When I want to take a day off, I see, well, they did this, and so I'm actually gonna go. They motivate me, and so the biggest part is getting to see them cross the finish line, getting to see them accomplish their goal, getting to see them become better. See them grow, become better people through running.
What does it mean for you to be part of someone's running journey?
You become part of the family because it means a lot. You're the mentor. You're the person. You're the accountability person. You all right there with them, so you understand the process with them. For me, it just become part of the person's life. I always tell my athletes, hey, thank you for letting me be part of your running journey because you help them make an impact in their life.
If you are just joining us, Benson Lang'at, he is the coach and elite athlete here in Sioux Falls. He's in the studio with me. Now, you've already accomplished so much, 60 plus runs and so much more to go. What's next for you?
What's next for me is I have some big goals that are still still working on them. I have some marathons this fall. But long-term wise, I'm looking at the 5 rings.
The 5 rings?
That's a big goal. And so those are the big goals that I have personally. And so right now, I'm still working on some races. I still want to improve my marathon time. I still want to run a personal best in the half marathon and to run a steeplechase and around the track, something I never did. So
that's challenging too.
Yeah, and I still gotta try to do a triathlon, the Ironman specifically.
You mentioned the 5 rings, and for anyone that isn't aware of that, that's the Olympics.
Yep.
Why is that a goal for you?
Why not? Why not? I grew up running that's why everybody thrived. They want to get there, and so I have the opportunity. I live in one of the biggest, the best countries in the world. So why not, take the opportunity and just go for it? Because if I don't, who else will?
What would it mean to you if and when you accomplish these goals?
I would set new goals every day. Some goals every day, some goals weekly, monthly, and yearly. Right now, it would mean a lot to me, especially for my family. Not first off, it would be me first, but then for my family, seeing how I grew up and how everything else that led to where I am today, and to even get that would be huge for them. That would be an amazing thing for them.
For anyone who is new to the running world and wants to try this sport, how would you encourage this person to just get out and do it?
Like I said, if not now, then when? If not you, then who will? So getting out is a big thing. It's always showing up. The first thing you do is you put it's a step at a time. It's just a step at a time. So put the one step out, and it turns into 2 steps. It turns into 4 steps. Later, it turns into a big thing. So 1% today is better than nothing. So getting out and just even exposing yourself to just a walk. Just start with a walk, and then run, walk, and then the rest is gonna be history.
Why should anyone even try running? We shared our horror stories of the first time we tried it, so why should anybody else?
It's a great thing. A lot of people use it. I'm one of the other jobs that I work, I'm a clinical social worker, so I'm a therapist. One of the best coping skills for mental health is exercise. Exercise helps you feel good about yourself. For me, it's like the coffee in the morning. It just kind of gets me going. For those people who enjoy coffee, you know how that feels. And so exercise, there is no day that I've gone out and regretted it. Whether it was a good or bad run, you feel good after that. So really, it helps. What I talk about mostly is it helps you give you the mental strength. As long as you're getting the physical strength, your physical strength, running helps you with the mental strength because it teaches you to tackle the wind, the cold, the heat, and you're still pushing that. So you're getting a little bit more of the mental strength.
What's a funny story that you've had of one of your races, whether it's something that happened before, during, or after?
It was about my shoes and how bright they were.
What?
Somebody said, "Can you give me your shoes so you can run barefoot?" And so I thought that was funny, but it was some bright shoes that I was wearing. And so it's like, I like your shoes, you should just give them to me. And I mean, that's one of the things that I heard. But most of the time when I'm racing, my vision, my everything is just focusing on, it's just focusing on what I'm doing. But when it gets to that place where everything is all spread out, then you can hear one other things. But when I'm in a tunnel vision, I don't hear so much. Yeah. But that's something funny, I think.
I had this debate with my friend Aaron not too long ago. When I was preparing for the Sioux Falls skedaddle, I ate pasta, and then I also made myself a deep dish pizza that was shipped from Chicago because that was my thing. I always had deep dish pizza the night before a race because I always did better for whatever reason. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but it just does that. Well, he told me you should have been having pasta 2 nights before, not the day before. And I said, wait a minute, hold on. I was always told the day before you carb a load. So can you settle this debate for us?
It's not so really the night before, it won't really do anything.
Really?
It won't really do. I mean, I'm not a nutritionist.
Don't tell me that he's right.
I think he's also wrong because this is something that you got to be doing routinely over time. So again, it's practice. It's something that you use every single time. So by the week of the race, really, I've done that same thing too. And I really still, I think it's just like a repetition of so many things that leads up to that day. So something I tell my athletes, do not try something that you have not tried before. So deep dish pizza for me would be something I would enjoy a day.
No, don't do that.
Right after the race, but the night before is just something that I'm used to that sits well in your stomach. So you get out. But yeah, I think you and your friend Aaron, both of you were wrong in that aspect from a coaching standpoint, not from a nutritional standpoint. So.
All right, I will let him know that we are both wrong, so I know better for next time. Now, if you're just listening, Benson Lang'at, he is a coach and an elite athlete here in the Sioux Empire. So for anyone that wants to follow you in your career, or if they like to connect with you for training, how can someone get a hold of you?
So you can visit 605 Running Company, and you'll find my coaching information on there. Or you can find me also on Twitter at BenKeep800. You can also find me on Instagram as well at BenRun26.2, and 26.2 is just a marathon, basically. Nothing after that.
Nothing after that. Well, maybe a little bit more if you just want to walk it off a little bit. All right, Benson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes. Hey, bro! Toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Sunday Focus is a public affairs program of Results Radio Town Square Media, Sioux Falls.